The menu from my first real date with MJ. Wish I could have afforded someplace fancier. Gotta have something to do on stakeout.
Spider-Man is a failure. You might think this would make me happy, and to some extent you'd be absolutely right. But today, I am tired. Tired of all the senseless violence continually afflicting our streets, which that masked menace failed to put an end to. He failed to stop Hammerhead and his men, who are now using stolen Sable International weaponry to wreak more havoc than ever. And speaking of Sable, Miss Abuse of Power herself is back in New York, this time aboard some kind of fancy schmancy gunship. Where was that when the city was cowering under the terror inflicted by Martin Lee and Otto Octavius, huh? Collecting dust in a Simcarian warehouse? It's a shame she and Spider-Man couldn't have done us all a favor and just taken each other out. Folks, we need to talk more about this live-streaming egomaniac screwball. It's bad enough her show features and glorifies that narcissistic webhead Spider-Man, but her shows, if you can even call them that, are putting hard-working New Yorkers in harm's way just so she can gain followers, whatever that means. Can't you see her ridiculous stunts are nothing more than a desperate ploy for attention? Come on, folks, you're smarter than that. By watching her shows, you're literally hurting yourselves. So, you ask, what should we do instead, Jonah? Here's an idea. Tune into my show instead. The only thing I'll hurt you with is the truth. Damn, that's a good line. Write that one down, Jared. Let's use it in the next promo. It turns out traditional media isn't dead quite yet. Not that any of my listeners ever had a doubt. They're used to getting world-class content on a regular basis. Folks, we need to talk more about Spider-Man. Folks, we need to talk. It turns out traditional media isn't dead quite yet. Not that any of my listeners ever had a doubt. They're used to getting world-class content on a regular basis. But I'm, of course, talking about Screwball and her live-streaming band of bandits finally getting yanked off the air, or the web, whatever. The point is, we can all once again rest easy knowing we don't have to live in constant crippling fear of the awful sound of a so-called internet personality spewing nonsensical acronyms into the Ethernet. Internet. Whatever. How is this for a meme, Screwball? Goodbye! What do you mean that's not a meme? Of course it is. I just made it one. No, Jared, I said I wanted crushed ice, not... What do you mean we're live? Oh. Haha! Listeners, brushheads, stop me if you heard this one before. Spider-Man just chased a bunch of thugs through the streets, putting citizens in danger and leaving millions in property damage in his wake. And this time, he had a little help from a certain silver-haired vigilante who turned the financial district into her own personal shooting gallery with a flying death machine. But that's not the worst of it, folks. Oh, no. What could be worse, you ask? The traffic, the gridlock. It was so bad that yours truly missed a very important dental appointment. Now I have to wait 6 months for the next opening. How many other people missed dental appointments because of this? Dozens? Hundreds? Thousands? Which, of course, leads us to the obvious conclusion. Spider-Man causes tooth decay. Reports are flying in about an incident in Midtown involving, you guessed it, Spider-Man. It's the same old story, same old menace. But here's a terrifying little wrinkle. My sources tell me that the Maggia crime boss Hammerhead has now gone, and I quote, full cyborg. First we have robotic octopuses, and now a meched-up Magia? Ugh. Whatever happened to the good old days when criminals would just put on a dime store mask, stick their finger in their pocket, and try to rob a bank? Oh right! Spider-Man happened! Today is a fine day in New York City. At long last, Hammerhead has been taken down for good, cyborg parts and all. I will even give Spider-Man and Silver Sable an ounce of credit. They did, after all, land the final blow. However, while the mainstream media trips over itself to heap lavish praise on these vigilantes, allow me to give you a dose of facts. Hammerhead would have never gotten this far had it not been for Silver Sable leaving behind all her gear in the city. And don't get me started on Spider-Man stoking the fires of a gang war and forcing a decorated police captain into administrative leave. So sure, they cleaned up the mess, but they were also the ones that made it. Jared! Call my doctor and double all my prescriptions! I'm in the red here, folks. Eyewitnesses have confirmed that there is no longer just one Spider-Man, but two of them! I mean, one is bad enough, but I'm having a hard time dealing with the idea of multiple menaces swinging through our beautiful city! It's just... Jared, I might be having a heart attack. I need to lie down, folks. No, don't call an ambulance. It's too expensive. Call a cab. I have a coupon in my wallet. Don't go in my wallet, Jared. I'll do it. I'll do it. This is it, folks. This is the big one. I finally have proof. For years, I have asked my dear listeners to send in photographic evidence to prove, once and for all, that Spider-Man is directly linked to the very criminals who plague our city. And finally, one brave anonymous caller has delivered the goods. We have clear photos of Spider-Man standing in the immediate vicinity of caches of humanitarian aid. Aid that was intended for Sincaria. And our heroic caller assures me that these very humanitarian caches are being sold on the black market. If I've learned one thing in my years as a world-renowned reporter, it's this. Photos don't lie. Spider-Man has been caught red-handed. No pun intended, puns are for wimps. So what do we do about it, you ask? We wait. We wait for the police to finally wake up and arrest this mass lunatic. At long last, this city is going to finally see that Jameson has been right about Spider-Man this entire time. Not only is he a thief, he's actually stealing vital food and medicine from innocent civilians who are trapped in a war zone. Women and children struggling to survive, hiding each day from a hail of mortars and bullets. Meanwhile, Spider-Man is stealing the very aid that might keep them alive. This is a new low, people. Even I could never have suspected Spider-Man of something this despicable. All we can do now as a city is to sit back and quietly reflect on just how right J. Jonah Jameson really was. Yet again.
So, you have some work-related stress. Well, you came to the right place. That's my specialty.
So they tell me.
Give me some more specifics about how you're feeling.
Guess you could say I put a lot of pressure on myself. I like to be the best.
Another day, another piece of priceless New York architecture destroyed by none other than Spider-Man, the Webbed Wonder. Was the Harlem Sanitarium in the best condition? No. Did the doctors there at one point commit horrible atrocities against their patients? Probably. Does that mean we should let spandex-suited vigilantes swing willy-nilly through a piece of our history? I think not. It is our duty, nay, our responsibility to maintain these shameful monuments to our past, because that's the America that I call home. Like I said to my doctor when she recently told me to calm down, I won't, and I'll tell you why. I'm certain the police could have handled whatever petty argument was going down at the sanitarium without the destructive force of the Webhead's wacky weapons. What say you, New York? We're here to talk about a hot-button issue today, folks, and that's crime boss Hammerhead. It turns out that petty argument at the Harlem Sanitarium was actually a Magia smackdown against this flat-topped flop. But here's the thing about Hammerhead, valued listeners. He might be an unhinged, rampaging cop killer who my assistant Jared keeps calling a beta, for reasons that I'm certain must be shark-related, but he has some interesting ideas. What's so wrong with pining for the good old days? Hammerhead wants to bring New York back to a time where people didn't get offended by everything, and spiders were just bugs you killed in your apartment, and I didn't have to take blood pressure medication. Now, if we could just stop him from destroying the city and its citizens in the process, wow, that would be great. Today, on Just the Facts with J. Jonah Jameson, the Magia are turning the streets of Manhattan into a gang war. Why, you ask? Because nobody listened to me when they had the chance. If we just cleaned up the city, returned to our collective senses, and run Spider-Man out of town, not necessarily in that order, in some misguided pursuit of that same goal. Look, Hammerhead's impulse to take us back to a simpler time before any of us had heard of web shooters isn't wrong, but his methods are obscene. Attacking the police, terrifying citizens, the man gives simpler times a bad name. Like this infernal sodium-free beverage I'm being forced by the medical establishment to... And meanwhile, where's our... Friends, our streets are safer than ever before, thanks to the tireless efforts of the swinging spectacle, Spider-Man. Oh, just kidding! Our streets are actually in more literal danger than... First of all, I'd just like to make it clear that I am perfectly capable of running this show alone. As you probably heard, Spider-Man stopped the crime boss Hammerhead's thugs from robbing the Museum of Contemporary Art. Good for him, right? Wrong! They nearly demolished the place and everything in it! They were shooting rocket launchers indoors! See, even if you assume good intentions, which I do not, this is the problem with Spider-Man. He escalates every situation into an apocalyptic disaster. What good is it to save the art from being stolen if you blow it up? Now, I realize this is pretentious, navel-gazing modern art. Soup cans and ink splatters that look like they were splashed on by a drunk elephant. But I'm not an art critic. I just know what I don't like. And I do not like that webbed menace trashing our public spaces! If you followed my career, and of course you have, you know I notched my first big bylines covering the Maggia crime families. The media's declared them dead more than once, but not unlike cockroaches, they always come back, just like they're doing now. I hear people make excuses for them. They're not so bad. They follow rules, unlike the demons or the cartels. Ha! And that's true. Until they go to war with each other. Then bullets fly, cars explode, horses lose their heads. And my Jonah sense tells me there's a gang war brewing. So hold on to your cannolis, folks. Come on, Jared, that's not an ethnic slur. I like cannolis. The Maggia, a syndicate of crime families. Symbols of a bygone era. Don Fortunato, Don Cicero, Don Macchio, just to name a few. And of course, that metal-domed lunatic, Hammerhead. Criminals, but ones who follow a code. Better than most, right? Wrong! They toss their code out the window the second it's inconvenient, because a criminal is a criminal, and they are by definition cowards, lowlifes, and scum. I brought down the Maggia virtually single-handed in the 80s and early 90s. And let me tell you right now, I stand ready to do it again. I am not afraid of them. Not one bit. You want me? Come and get me. That's all the time we have. Jared, go start the car. No, I'm the boss, and guess who's confirmed to be back in town? That feline felon, the Black Cat. She led Spider-Man on a merry chase before getting away. The bar fights are nothing new in this. My loyal.
This is Just a Fact with J. Jonah Jameson, where listeners like you discuss the issues affecting our city with Pulitzer Prize-winning
Two-time
Pulitzer...
Alexei, I've followed your career with great interest.
The world sees you as a witless dullard. It's rare for me to admit this, Mr. Gargan. Adrian, what bitter irony that your miraculous wing... Max, when... Oh, Martin. When I first realized it was you targeting Osborn these past... Norman. Feel like...
Can feel my power.
Today's the day. Peter.
Can feel my power growing. Feeding off my anger.
Today's the day. Peter. Parker. We've been... In some...
Happy birthday, dear. Sorry I'm a little late. Happy birthday, dear. Sorry I'm a little late. It's been a busy month. Norman Osborn, GR-27 research log. The whole project has gone to hell. GR-27 is a cure, not a disease. But try telling that to the evening news.
And that's why Jonah paid me the big bucks.